all the projects, the benefits. How do you lead the world without having the best infrastructure in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best healthcare in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best education system in the world? How do you lead the world when you don't have that done?
Well, Joe Biden finally addressed the rumors about his mental decline in The View, and it went exactly as you would expect. This is a disaster interview, and my guess is that he is still salty with the Democrat Party, and he wants to sink them even lower, because we have gems like this. We're going to go right in the question that everybody is asking, like, I don't know how many years ago.
Mr. President, since you left office, there have been a number of books that have come out, deeply sourced from Democratic sources, that claim in your final year there was a dramatic decline in your cognitive abilities.
It's a very straightforward question, very well, asked. What is the answer?
They're wrong.
They are wrong. They're simply wrong. He starts saying this. He has this kind of a smirk, kind of a smug face, but he says that first answer, they are wrong.
They are wrong. There's nothing to sustain that. Number one. Number two, think of what we're left with. We're left with a circumstance where we had an insurrection when I started.
All right, I want to know exactly what does the quote-unquote insurrection that never was has to do with his mental decline. Yeah, it's exactly zero. I know this is not really a question. I'm just making a joke about this. But he just said the words, they are wrong. Mysteriously, the director was not pointing at Biden when he was saying those words. There's nothing to sustain that, and immediately he begins a tirade about the insurrection.
We had an insurrection when I started. Not since the Civil War. We had a circumstance where...
You see that Dr. Jill Biden is a bit concerned about what Joe could say in this regard, and we saw her. I don't know if you could spot that. We could see her. Oh yeah, she was swallowing hard. I'm gonna play that again so you learn to spot when somebody look at her throat. Oh yeah, she's swallowing hard. Joe, why? This question was not pre-approved. This question was not pre-approved. Why are you doing this?
We were in a position that the pandemic.
Now it's the pandemic. Somehow his, the rumors about his mental acuity have to do with the pandemic as well.
Because of the incompetence of the last outfit, end up over 1 million people dying.
Yes, and I think that, he's lost. He's completely lost. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't remember the question anymore. I think he is in Kamala mode. You know that Kamala began just following a script that she had, and she just lost the plot every single interview and in the debate as well.
We're also in a situation where we found ourselves unable to deal with a lot of just basic issues.
All right. And what about the question?
And which I won't go into in the interest of time. And so we went to work, and we got it done. And one of the things
this is the moment when Jill intervenes. But I want to tell you that there were so many ways of answering this question. Again, it's a valid question about his mental acuity. One way of answering this was very easy. Was really, really easy. He could have just said that, well, I have some highs and lows. You know that this is a very stressful job. Sometimes I forget where the keys to the beast were. Made that kind of jokes. If you have a mental acuity, if you are okay, if you could have been the president of the United States right now in a second term, you should have the mental acuity to crack jokes and talk about this, or maybe test me if you want to ask me something about anything regarding politics of how to govern a country any way. But no, he didn't. And this is the part in which Jill tries to save, quote unquote, the day. Yeah, she intervenes.
One of the things I think is that The people who wrote those books were not in the White House with.
She is talking about Democrats who are writing books right now because they want to, wash the stench away, the stench of lies, as in, oh, they knew from long ago that Biden had mental decline, and they are writing these books, so they are like washing their own reputation. And they were talking about those books and this question: why so many Democrats are writing books about Biden's mental decline while he was president after the fact?
The White House with us. And they didn't see how hard Joe worked every single day. I mean, he'd get up, he'd put in a full day, and then at night I'd be in bed.
I think that he is thinking. I think that he's thinking about an ice cream for later. That will be great. An ice cream for later.
I'd be in bed, reading my book, and he was still on the phone reading his briefings.
It's the look of somebody who is there at times. This is, again, elder abuse. Not that I care in the least, or I feel pity in the least for this guy or those around them. All them are crooks.
Working with staff, I mean, it was nonstop. It's the White House. Being president is not like a job. It's a lifestyle. It's a life that you live. You live it 24 hours a day.
Maybe she's going to say that life at the White House is really expensive, as who said that. But I think Biden was fed up with all the rant about, this nothing burger, his mental acuity or decline. Which one is it? But he won't say a thing.
That phone can ring at 11 o'clock at night or 2 in the morning.
My question is, if your wife is speaking so good of you, is trying to defend you in a way that you couldn't do it yourself, why would you lower your head in this defeatist way? In defeat. It makes no sense. You could be smiling, you could be nodding, you could be looking at her, you could be, gesturing in some way, but he moves so slowly. We know that what was going on. And again, I think that he wanted to do this to further expose everyone as hypocrites, in spite, that I don't think that jail has anything to win from this, but I'm sure at the same time that Jill is bitter as well of the Democrats kicking out Joe Biden from the presidential race.
It's constant. You never leave it. And Joe worked really hard. I think he was a great president. And if you look at things today, give me Joe Biden anytime.
It was at the end, like the meds finally kicked in, and there was a semblance of, a reaction to what his wife was saying. Okay, finally, we got a reaction. He even joked with his face. I was again. Let me see. Oh yeah, he was. There was a great facial expression in there. Joe is still there. Joe is still there, and I'm glad that he's still battling to sink the Democrats as low as he can before, he has, let's say he is perpetually not there.
That's worth the invitation to come to the show.
But again, he also was claiming that he would have beaten Trump. Yeah, he actually said that. He implied that. More implied that same.
Knowing what you know now, do you think you would have beat him?
Yeah, he still got 7 million fewer votes.
Yes.
There you go, okay? A lot of people didn't show up. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two,
number two is when maybe he loses the plot again.
They're very close in those toss-up states. It was it wasn't a slam dunk.
It wasn't a slam dunk, even it was a landslide, but, it's just words, right?
Mm-hmm. And look.
Yeah, and then he begins to rant like a 2-minute rant that we have absolutely nothing to do with listening to this. Again, another aimless rant. What is the point of doing these interviews anyway? What is it? It makes for good video analysis. Not gonna lie, I'm not gonna complain. I would like to see Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And Joe spoke about Kamala as well. Kamala lost because of sexism and racism. I'm not making this up. He actually said that.
I wasn't surprised, not because I didn't think the vice president was the most qualified person to be president. She is. She's qualified to be president of the United States of America.
Yeah, all right. About that, let's see Joe's argument.
But I was surprised. I wasn't surprised because they went the route of the sexist route, the whole route.
He means that Trump's campaign was based on sexism and
this is a woman, she's this, she's that. I mean, it really, I've never seen quite as successful and a consistent campaign undercutting the notion that a woman couldn't lead the country and a woman of mixed race.
A woman of mixed race. So essentially, Trump was being sexist and racist. Just as I'm going to act as Trump's attorney in this case. Trump never complained that Kamala or didn't attack Kamala because she was a woman or because she was of mixed race. Maybe he said, okay, how many times is Kamala going to change her accent or going to claim that she's Indian or black, or how does that work? Okay, she's mixed race, but I'm going to say that Trump actually said that Kamala was, I think that he said that she was kind of low IQ. So maybe that were not his actual words, but we're pretty close to that. And to be fair, every time Kamala opened her mouth on CNN, on any interview, especially on that Fox News interview, I remember that with Brett Baier, that was golden. Let's say that she proved his point. And well, nowadays, I would like to see a Kamala come back. Kamala is still young. She can go for it again. And AOC can go for it. And Jasmine Crockett, that we are talking about low IQ, she can go for it. And if you don't support Kamala or AOC or Jasmine Crockett, then you are a racist and sexist and misogynist and, I don't know, xenophobic and what is the other one that they say about this? Ableist, especially in terms of when we talk about Kamala. But again, I would love to know what do you think about this in the comments. Were you satisfied with Joe's answer about his mental decline, the claims of his mental decline, or you would have expected him to be a bit more eloquent? Again, let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to download my free 100 body language tips in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss.